Hey, 10:53 p.m. It is November 24th of Sunday evening. I should be in bed right now, but I laid down for a while and my legs were just so cramped, Wondering is there going to be rain coming or something? I don't know, but they're just really cramped. So I got up and I'm kind of stretching them out, trying to make them feel a little bit better. Sometimes I just have these flare-ups, in my legs and kind of, distracts me from getting sleep. But also, I was thinking some things were floating around in my mind. And I'm making these videos here because it's just, dumping out things that come across my mind. And I could go on and on and on about bashing certain people, but I was thinking about how, and I'm not going to mention any names because the person who's listening to this is going to know who I'm talking about. Uh, Obviously they're from my ex family who kind of initiated this thing. They seem to think that they can treat jobs like property, like community property, like in a divorce settlement. That's not true. You can't. Okay, you can't. You could do certain things like relating to property, things that you own, but jobs, that doesn't quite work. But my interest in it is like, well, what does this particular person from my ex family hope to gain? Does she just think, well, um, maybe somebody gave me did me a favor, a long time ago and got me the job. And then, and really, it doesn't really matter because I'm not really thinking about work anymore. I'm just like, whatever. But it's the idea, I think, what's bothering me. The idea that somebody would be warped to think that they could interfere and take something, or think that you could just snatch people's things the way that they do, and this particular ex-family member I just remember like, I would hear this particular person talking all the time, and it was about issues like joining with I'm not, when I say Christ based, I'm not bashing Christianity, okay? But this particular person who is very weak minded, who's in a cult, okay, tends to use um, religion, okay, to associate or affiliate with other people, because I think the reason why this particular person does that is because they don't really have a lot in common with other people, or they're trying to find a familiar link, because that's one way. I mean, in order for you to assimilate into, society, you try to find what you have in common, right? And in order to develop like a us versus them type of competition, even though I didn't get a heads up on the competition, mind you, but when you have like these us versus them kind of competitions, you generally look for some sort of common uh, bond. Okay, in this case, it's religion. So I remember, this person was talking about how she would prefer to only engage in Christ-based activities. And in her mind, she thinks that Christ-based activities is something that links her or connects her and binds her to it. And which she is misusing it. Like, um, I think the fact that, and I really do suspect, and I could be wrong, but I think she's obviously using this religious issue, misusing religion as an issue, to prevent me from seeing, interacting with my previous employers, because she's caused division with that. She also, because I was married to Joel at one time, I think she was trying to hang on to this. Like, I've been divorced for over a year. I think my divorce was finalized on the 17th of October of 2018, okay? I believe, okay? The paperwork is in my filing box, okay? And I don't really know. I could pull it, but it's kind of late right now. But I know my divorce was finalized last year in October. And you know, but in her mind, it's like she feels it's like, well, because in their I guess in their particular little cult, women don't have rights, okay, and that because like my um, I'm not mentioning any names, but her husband tends to, you know, walk all over her. So she, I guess, was trying to indoctrinate me into her belief system and force me to do, to, I guess, give up my job or the kind of work that I do. And because it was in her mind some sort of part of a divorce settlement. Now, I would like to say that when I was married to my ex-husband, you know, we had our bills that we were paying on or whatever, and I did a good job paying on the bills until this issue happened over at Organized Sports, and from that point on, um, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. I had no idea they were mobbing me out of my jobs and starting to do all of this sort of stuff. So, you know, I'm at a point right now, and I realize I have really been thinking about how these people have literally plowed over my life by um, messing up with my giving me jobs, messing the jobs up, spreading rumors, and causing all kinds of financial disasters. You know, also, I noticed that, um, you know, other people they create financial disasters and allow other people to pick up the pieces of their financial disasters. Like, you know, I've had some help paying for things. You know, I don't like asking, but I've had some help paying for things from, you know, it's done. And I don't like the fact that she has this particular person, this woman who doesn't belong in my life at all, has this overinflated ego, you know, because I don't really think she she is so jealous and competitive, okay, that she doesn't seem to care who she hurts in the process, okay. Like, you know, I brought up other people's names in this issue that may have been just thinking the way they're just following orders, and it's unfortunately fortunate that they didn't care to double check or reference or call their legal department. Their legal department probably doesn't know either, because I'm just tired of, like, I give up on people knowing anything at this point anymore, because I've just kind of seen too many examples of people just letting things fly over their heads or whatever. But my thing is that and this is not me crying over the job anymore. It's not, okay? I'm not crying over that. I'm crying over, not even crying over them. I'm pissed off, okay? I'm pissed off that this delusional weirdo, okay, um, with her hang-ups, okay, thought that she could invite herself into my life when I never invited her to do so, okay? Making it so that I would lose my job over at the place in Chatsworth as well as the farmer's place, and then creating complications for me at other jobs, um, and then not respecting my will to leave my marriage after she encouraged my ex-husband, to do something. When you touch my ability to provide for myself, okay, to basically do that, and then never, they encouraged him from keeping that secret from me, to keep me on a chain, basically, and I will never forgive that. And then on top of it, you know, the financial problems I've had in the last few months, you know, like for example, maybe a utility bill or whatever. I haven't had that lately, but I have gotten some help, you know, just like last night or something. Somebody else paid my bill, you know, my son paid my bill, okay. But the point is, and he didn't have to, because I could have waited to make arrangement next month, and that would have been fine. But my point is that I have been experiencing so many setbacks, and she does nothing. She expects people to pick up the pace and just keep a smiling face, and she doesn't have to take any responsibility for the damages that she causes. Like I mentioned, a few of the people's names who may have thought that they were just assisting her, thinking, well, thinking that they were doing the right thing. Okay, and even though I still hold them accountable because they shouldn't have those positions unless, of course, they fully understand how to properly hire somebody and this sort of thing. I really do believe that, okay, because there's too much of this stuff going on. But all these years, I realized that, because, I've never really paid attention to what was going on around me other than knowing that there was a lot of chaos. And so I kind of spent time away from my family, even though I was already under the same roof as them. It's just that, I would see them, but I never really understood how other people perceive them. Like, I know I would get a lot of negative comments from people about my two siblings. Like, they would say negative things, and I would always defend them only because they were my sisters, right? Only because they were my sisters. And that was it. Not because I personally thought that they deserved to be defended, because I myself had issues with them. But I felt, though, because you have this sense of loyalty to your family for whatever reason. You're like, hey, don't talk about my family that way. But I remember people would tell me that that my eldest sister, ex-sister, people thought she was like, a mooch. And she is a mooch, okay? I mean, and what I mean by that is, like, she doesn't have a problem with attaching herself to people, even if they don't want her around. Like, she doesn't have a problem with that. Like, you've ever had a conversation with somebody and the topic is kind of declining. So you realize it's time to kind of like wrap it up and go. And to keep it going any further, it starts to get awkward, right? It's not that you have anything against this person. It's just like, hey, we've had enough. Let's go, right? But she doesn't sense when the conversation is starting to end, and that certain energy level is just not quite there yet. So you kind of break the conversation, you part, and whatever. Okay. You notice this, you feel it, like, okay, it's time to go, right? She doesn't notice that. Like, she doesn't sense that. She's like this, she's a parasite, okay? That's the best way of putting it. She's a parasite. She sucks and drains the life out of people. And, and, I know my mom used to make jokes about, okay, I'm starting to get personal. I'm like, talking more and kind of revealing people's identity. I don't have to give a shit. But anyway, I know, my mom used to sit there and say, she was a mooch. And I know that we get these titles, given to us in childhood, when everybody has those little nicknames or little sayings that they're known by in the family or whatever. But I just remember her being called mooch. And I remember certain things about her that, like, she just doesn't seem to have, she lacks empathy. She lacks empathy. She doesn't understand boundaries. She doesn't respect boundaries. Even if you tell her that she's wrong, she shouldn't be doing this, but she'll try and do it anyway. Tanya, sorry, I don't care. Tanya, my ex-sister, is I would call her a fanatic. Somebody who really, I think she's lost. She's lost. She's definitely lost. She's lost, and she's the kind of person who follows. Like, she doesn't have a sense of direction herself, okay? Even though she comes off as this, put together person, meaning she seems like she's well spoken. She uses that bachelor's degree to make herself seem like she's an accomplished person. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people who went to college who are doing jobs that require absolutely no education whatsoever. You know what I mean? There's some people who are serving coffee. So there's some people who are working fast food, and there's nothing wrong with those jobs, okay? But I'm just saying is that in her mind, okay, it makes her something. And I can understand why people believe this, okay, because this is all we're ever fed. You know, we always think, like I said, this equals this, right? But how is it that it's not equaling this for her, right? Why is it, if she was so successful, why is she bothering me, right? So I'm up tonight kind of thinking about, because, you know, like I said, what else do I have to think about? Some people think, well, you know, take the time off and start focusing on your hobbies. And I did do a little bit of that, okay? I did do a little bit of that today, which I have. Every little step I take is like a little, I applaud myself, you know, because it's quite an effort. It's quite an effort because it is a mental drain knowing that you've got these crazy people who have this sense of entitlement and intrusive, you know, all because they think that because you're related to them, you know, and it's wrong. Okay, people have to set boundaries. But going back to the Christ-based thing, I suspect that she started making up rules. You know, like my brother Rashawn likes to feel like he likes to be in control. Okay, and I'm starting to think about things that happened when I was younger that I'm actually quite disturbed about. Like back then I just kept thinking, oh, okay, well, you know, I kind of made excuses for it, whatever. Now I'm starting to realize that this is a very sick person. Okay, I consider this person to be very sick. Tanya uses this issue. She thinks that because I believe that my ex-boss, Craig Jahelka, mistakenly gave her, I guess, said, well, you know, there must have been some sort of formal agreement between him and then Karen Johnson, all these people, to set me in a job, okay? But that does not mean that this person has the right to tell me all the other jobs I'm supposed to work, which I've already talked about this in the video, okay? But she thinks, because she goes, she's making this over-exaggerated, and I told you, this is all these sort of things are illegal investigations. A lot of times when people get into management positions, or they get arrogant. Okay, she's not a manager in this position thing, but she must be pretending that she's something, or she pretends that she's got authority over me, which she doesn't. Okay, just because she has a bachelor's degree, just because she may have set me up in a job or provided a reference, she was provided herself as a reference as a job, doesn't mean that she has authority over me. Okay, that's wrong, way wrong. But she thinks that she can tell people what to do, you know, how to live, whatever, who they can see, who can be their friends, what kind of food they can eat, or whatever. And then she thinks that she can dole out punishments if you don't do what she wants, right? Which is illegal. Okay, obviously it is. But I believe she probably either told the people from Facebook and Stephen Lyles and all these people that there were certain stipulations that if they wanted to come see me, that I had to comply with. Okay. Now this is a very sick person who doesn't understand, who doesn't seem to have any sort of it's kind of like oh God, how can I describe it? It's like they don't know the difference between right and wrong. Somebody who really takes things to the extreme, okay? To where obviously, you know, I'm being targeted and I'm a victim of human trafficking. All because she feels as though now she's got the right in her warped mind to control this imaginary high dollar career that she thinks that we're supposed to be fighting for. Which, you know, I'm sorry, because when I was working in the Los Angeles area back in 2007, okay, I would say the money was good, and I'll tell you why it was good. It was good because I was working in Los Angeles. But when you think about the cost of living of Los Angeles versus Bakersfield, and if I was to actually live in Los Angeles, okay, your paycheck it's going to be kind of like the same, because the rent is kind of like, you know, consumer of I guess, what you actually make. Okay, so it's really not that, because rent over in Los Angeles areas are like, it's something in the thousands. Okay, it could be $1,000, $2,000. Okay, or whatever. So it was suitable for that area. Now in Bakersfield, where I live, we relive, whatever, cost of living's not that much. Okay, so I can only make so much money. Okay, I'm not going to be rolling in the dough. Okay, but still, that's why I don't understand the cutthroatness of it. But see, this obviously shows me that she hasn't succeeded in her life if she's going after me and so fixated on me. So you can tell that this is a very warped person. She's like the kind of person, kind of like the guy who shot John Lennon, or somebody who is like this deranged lunatic. She's a deranged lunatic, basically. Okay? And how is it that people can't see that? Like, I personally, I feel very nervous and threatened because somebody would take this sort of measure. And then when I think about my ex-brother and the weird sick shit that he did when he was a kid, to me, I'm not comfortable with this person doing what they're doing. And then thinking about my home being under surveillance back over when I was living with my ex-husband, that to me makes me think he's pretty goddamn sick. Okay? And confirms my point. So I'm not exactly happy. And the sad part is that, my sister, Tanya, doesn't have, and if she even apologized to people like Jan Sizer and Karen Johnson for dragging their name through the mud. Because see, the thing is, I've been sitting here pointing out everybody's name for the last 4 years, throwing out names, and of course I'm going to say they are part of it. They are part of it because they assisted her, okay? But she doesn't have any problem damaging other people's reputation. She doesn't care. What she cares about is her fucking competition. This is what I'm telling you about this person, okay? And when I'm making this video, I'm not trying to say making this video because I want people to see me in this great light and then I'm going to deserve this great job. I understand how shit works, okay? I'm getting shit off my chest. I'm just getting shit off my chest, okay? I'm just saying that I'm looking at people that I used to know, that I've been around all my life, and I'm putting the pieces together and I'm like, holy shit. Because I never realized that I had rivals like this. I never did. I never did. I would have never known that this person was envying me to this degree. Like, I never realized that. And what she didn't understand is that there was nothing to envy. There was nothing to envy. It's been a very difficult road, but of course they made it that way. You know what I mean? So I'm very glad that I'm talking about this and getting this out in the open. You know what I mean? I could sit here and share all kinds of horrible stories about my family, and I can get into detail, okay? But I'm not going to do that. But my thing is that what I thought was just like a phase with them, or just like regular childhood shit, or whatever that was going on in their minds. No, these people are fucking sick. They're sick, and they attract people who are sick. Now, like I said, some of the people who got involved in this, and I know people think, well, you're just going overboard. No, I'm not going overboard, because when you violate somebody's rights and shut the doors, you think that you have the right to shut doors of opportunity and shut people off and cut them off from certain people, activities, help, you're committing a huge crime. Or thinking, and then the very fact that she was like, she needed that sort of validation. She needed to feel like she had some sort of authority over somebody. Okay? My sister Tanya doesn't have authority over anybody. So looking at her, and I'm coming to the realization that this is an evil person. It's an evil person. She's evil. I mean, I cannot, and I don't care what anybody says. I know that she's going to wear a nice mask in front of so many people. You know what I mean? Coming off as this caring sister, you know, worrying about her little sister. She didn't have to worry about me. She didn't have to worry about me at all. You know what I mean? But she worries about me because she's always thinking that Maria's the blessed one. You know, talking about blessed. Like I already mentioned, there's no blessing when it comes to having a job. There is none. Okay, you're fortunate, like, you know, you get to pay your bills or whatever. But anytime you have to work for a living, okay, that's not a blessing. What would be a blessing is if somebody gifted you a few $1,000,000 where you don't have to work. That's a blessing. That means that you can sit and relax and enjoy your life. You can go vacation. You can go help people that you care about. You can whatever. That's a blessing. Okay, but anytime you have to raise one fucking finger to do something, and somebody gives you the opportunity to raise one finger to do something, that's not a blessing. Okay? My sister has what I consider to be the poor woman mentality, or the poor person mentality. You know what I mean? Thinking that that job is everything. It's not everything. And believe me, I loved working. I did. I loved working. I loved going to work. And yes, I would say in a way that it was kind of everything, because that's the only activity I had. That was it. Right? Nothing else. But I never thought that I was somebody, or that, you know, what do you call it? That I was like, I don't know. I just never, I don't even remember ever writing anything about where I worked, or anything like that on my Facebook pages back in the past. I mean, I don't put shit like that on my stuff anyway, but I just never cared about it. I mean, I liked what I did, though. I liked what I did. But I think my sister tends to think that, and she has a very over-exaggerated idea of all of this, because when I was working at the news station, seriously, I was only making like $15 an hour. That was it. Okay, and I think that was my parting wage. That was it. Okay, that was like 2003, and you're like, gosh, how could you talk about? No, I was like, I got there, I think around 2004, and then 2007, somewhere around there. Okay, no, 2007, and then my parting wage, I believe. No, I'm sorry. Correct that. I started there and I was making $15 an hour, and then I got up to 17. Please forgive me, okay? But still, that's not a shitload, okay? But it is to somebody with a bachelor's degree who is a fucking failure. Okay, it is. So I'm just looking at people, and I realize that I'm talking about my ex-family. I'm looking at these people and I'm thinking, gosh, you know what? I'm tired of being a scapegoat for their problems. You know what I mean? Nobody asked them to tag along, you know? And just because she feels like everything is supposed to be given to her because she feels like she did all the right things, everything that, you know, society promoted in front of her that didn't work out for her, it confuses her. Just like it does everyone else. Just like everybody who spent thousands. Some people actually paid for their college. Okay, now my sister got grants. Okay, so I don't really give a flying fuck. I'm not impressed. Okay, but some people shelled out money for their college education. Okay, and their parents are pissed off because their sons who went to this college is now, you know, sleeping on the couch, and he's not doing close to anything that he was supposed to be. He studied for. You know what I mean? So they're kind of sitting there scratching their head like, what went wrong? Nothing went wrong. You got scammed. That's what. I mean, this is what the whole system's based on, is a big fucking scam. But still, okay, it confuses people. It confuses people, you know. And the whole issue about her being in a cult or having very marginalized beliefs. What I mean by that is it kind of veers off of, it's not really like a Christian doctrine. It's more like people using certain scriptures or ideas to subjugate and abuse other people. And so that's one of the reasons why I personally think that she was trying to say, well, Maria's not a part of our family's religion, which I never was invited or even aware that we were supposed to be. And that was her excuse to isolate me from people that I used to know. You know what I mean? And the reason why she wants to do things that are quote unquote Christ based is because it makes her able to involve herself. So, like in this situation where she thought that when I left my ex-husband, and because he's from a Christian background, she feels as though I'm supposed to be subjugated. I never agreed to be a part of Joel's religion. I didn't. When he and I first got married, he knew good and well that I didn't like mainstream religion. He knew it. Okay? And then I do recall after that, I did go to a few churches and stuff like that, but I never became official church member. And even if I did, why are you involving yourself in my shit? Because she wants contacts or whatever. My sister's a mooch. Okay? She's a mooch. And I've heard her talk about things like, business networks and stuff, networking. She wants to know people so she can get stuff from people. I remember some lady told me that my sister invited a lady to lunch with her. Now, when this lady told me this, I was like so embarrassed. Like, my sister invited this lady to lunch with her. And this lady ended up paying for the lunch. Okay, I'm telling you, this is what the lady told me. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, when she was telling me this, I was cringing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I was ashamed, okay? I was ashamed. Because it's like, you're basically a person that you don't really know very well, like some outside person is basically telling you that your sister's that big of a mooch. And she doesn't, it will never click in her head that she's doing something inappropriate. It doesn't matter to her. So that's why she lets people plow through. She comes in, she destroys jobs, then she goes out in the public and she destroys shit. She says shit, talks gossip or whatever. But anyway, she wants control, and by using religion, she feels as though she controls people. She thinks that, I'm not going to let Maria see Stephen Lyles because she's not, our form of Christianity or whatever. And the thing is that she's obviously, that's an excuse, okay? And that's the law. Like, she thinks that this is how, okay, if you have a bachelor's degree, okay, you should know that your religion is not the law. There's nothing, that's not the ultimate authority. God is the ultimate authority in a spiritual sense, okay? But in the court of law, it doesn't hold any water. I'm sorry, it doesn't. All right? So when I think of her using this, and she comes off as a very ignorant woman. Okay? Even though, and this is an example of so many other people, even though she has this 4-year degree, she comes off as very ignorant. Did she really think that she could legally do this? Or she could launch these sort of investigations? Or that, she could tell me who I can and cannot see, and then tell people. She deceives a lot of people. Okay? She deceives a lot of people. Okay? And I'm embarrassed about her. I'm embarrassed that she thought that, this was something to be so cutthroat about. Because I just shows what kind of a mentality she has. Like, it's like, oh my God. Like, pretty much like, she expects people to jump through hoops, and be like, launch these major investigations and background investigations, having your house under surveillance and, having all these spies and stuff like that for something that really, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, it's not working at a Pentagon. I'm not doing any international work like spying or anything like that, to where you would need like a security clearance, like, something like that. It's over the top and ridiculous, okay? Because this is the action of somebody who is mentally off. Okay? And one of the biggest, most stalkers, okay, they're not, some people stalk, okay, lightly, okay, like kind of curious, following up on somebody every once in a while. But this sort of obsession, okay, is not normal. She's a stalker, and most stalkers have mental issues. Like, they are obsessive, and when they interact with people, they encourage other people to do bad things. They just do. So anyway, I made this video because I needed to get this off my chest, some thoughts off my chest. And I'm hoping that I'll get some sleep tonight. I really am. You know, I don't like, I'm just trying to talk about things that are coming to my mind, because I guess when people experience something that's traumatizing, and it is traumatizing to me, it's extremely traumatizing, because I remember all the things that happened, going back to all the jobs that, you know, she thinks that she has the right to sit there and say, you know, who does this and who does that or whatever. She doesn't. But that doesn't matter, because we know the employment system's, you know, screwed up anyway, and Marie's going to get whatever she's going to get, and that's fine, and I get that, I accept it, okay, whatever. But my point is that she, when I think about her, I mean, all my ex-siblings, okay, every single last one of them, okay, I am so shocked and disturbed by it. I'm disturbed by what these people are, how they think, you know, and, you know, it's something that, it's like, when I start thinking about it, it's like, I gotta talk about this, because I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with that kind of perversion. I'm not okay with that kind of, dominating attitude, you know what I mean? Or people thinking that, you know, that that this is okay. You know, it's like, she doesn't respect boundaries, okay? So, that's something that I resent. Her jealousy is something that gets out of control. You know? It's out of control. You know? And that's why she's so like the way that she is. And I guess because I'm realizing this, it sends a chill down my spine. Like, one that's like, oh my god, that's fucking freaky. That's freaky. Because I knew she was airheaded. You know, she was kind of like, you know, kind of, I don't know. She's always been kind of flighty, you know. But I'm going to say that these people are hugely demonic. All three of them. But I will say, of all three, I would say who has the less demons would probably, she's still a demon on it, demonic. But I would say, who has the less demons, I'm going to say probably my middle sister, ex-sister, has the least, okay? But I would say that my eldest sister and my ex-brother, those two, to me, are full-on demonic. They are very sick, twisted people. Especially if they were trying to keep me in a marriage that I didn't approve of and didn't believe in. That, to me, that is the equivalent of rape. And I will tell you that human trafficking, obviously, is a lot of it has to do with forced labor and sex trafficking. Do you know that forced marriages are considered to be a form of sex trafficking? Because obviously there's a sexual relationship when you're married, okay? But when you try to force a person into staying in that marriage, okay, especially a marriage that they find detestable and they don't want, especially under the circumstances, like, I don't agree with that little arrangement. I'm not comfortable with that, okay? I'm not comfortable with that. So, to try to force someone into that, that's raping somebody. You know what I mean? And then you got, you're trailing through all these employers, and you're basically saying, well, this conjugal situation is going to sit here, we're going to keep her married to this person, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. That's illegal, okay? And I just had this conversation last night. We were talking about, you know, marriage, whether marriage is really biblical or whether it's pagan or whatever. You can believe whatever you want to believe, okay? Some people believe that their marriages are ordained by God. I say the marriage piece of paper is adorned by the state. It's ordained by the state. And the state ordained it, and then I ended up getting a divorce, so now it's no longer valid. I'm divorced, okay? But whether I was divorced or not, if I want to leave, I have the right to leave. And to try to force somebody, you're basically raping somebody. So do you honestly think that I'm going to ever accept these people? Absolutely no. I won't. And I expect more from a person who claims to be an educated person. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'll be back with another video some other time. Heck it easy. Bye-bye.